Hi there, namaste, and welcome back to another spiritualistic pick a card reading. Today we're taking a look at what your higher self thinks about this connection. Today's reading is very special because it is in collaboration with Psychic Siren Tarot, a phenomenal reader and beautiful person, and she is taking a look at what their higher self thinks about this connection. So, please take a deep breath, drawing the energy up your spine, creating a clear and open channel. And as you exhale, allow yourself to come into clear knowing which group or groups has your message in it for you today from your higher self. If you would like messages from the person on your mind's higher self, you'll be able to find that link as well below in the description box for Psychic Siren Tarot's reading. We have group number 1 on the left with crystal healing, group number 2 in the center with absorbing energy, and group number 3 on the right with a door is opening. As always, the timestamps to your readings are listed below in the description box, as well as all the information about personal readings and Reiki sessions, my tarot and oracle decks, books, journals, crystal jewelry, and all of that lovely stuff. Thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to see you at your reading. Namaste. Hi there, group 1. Namaste, and welcome to your reading. Today we're taking a look at what your higher self thinks about this connection on your mind. And you selected the first group with crystal healing. The first thing that is coming through is it is important to remember maybe where and how the specific circumstances were when you and this individual came together in the first place, or the circumstances where you first met. There is something like this that rings true throughout the connection, throughout time, throughout every manifestation of the dynamic here. And your higher self wants you to know that it's important for you to pay attention to your body, not just your emotions, not just your mind, not just your intuition and higher self, but also your body, the way that you feel. Not just emotionally, but physically, when you are around this person. Your higher self wants you to know that they think that this connection is quite healing for you, but this is also something that is akin to perhaps adding a healthy aspect into your routine. This is something like checking the astrological transits, receiving a Reiki healing session, listening to a tarot reading like this, or doing something nice for yourself. There are also some things where it is possible for you not to overdo it in this connection, but your higher self wants you to know as well that your energy is a catalyst for this person's healing. So, your higher self loves and adores this person that is on your mind. And when it comes to this connection, this is something that is just as transparent moving forward as it always has been. So take that as a sign. But your higher self also wants you to know that in this connection, you seem to be the stronger one. You seem to be the one who perhaps has an easier time getting over whatever happens in this connection. Good, bad, ugly, weird, awkward, amazing. There seems to be an emotional lingering that your higher self wants to draw to your awareness on the other side here. Your higher self wants you to know that this can be resonant for you in a lot of different ways, and it can also be healing. But they also want you to be aware of the fact that it will be important for you to honor where you are as an individual, but also not slip into or accidentally pick up on some of this person's unhealed energy or unhealthy habits while you are in connection with this person. So, as you are the stronger one in this connection, energetically, spiritually, it will require extra strength for you to be in this connection. You might be a bit more evolved in one sense or another. This can be something where perhaps you have a better physical foundation, or maybe you're more emotionally mature, maybe you're a bit older. I'm getting that this is not in all of the ways, but in some of the ways, whatever you consider to be your personal forte. Your higher self is saying, remember that this is not an energy that is able to be matched in this connection. It is, however, able to be revered, respected, adored, cherished, nurtured, and there are other things that you still have not grown into as much as this other person has as well. However, your higher self does want you to know that this connection is much like a crystal, in the sense where it might need sometimes to be cleansed, it might need sometimes to be charged, and say this is a quartz crystal. Well, we can always use quartz crystal. It is beautiful. And sometimes you want to use citrine, or hematite, or lapis lazuli. So, you are being called to remember that your higher self wants you to take this in any direction that you like. And while there may be some areas where you will need to lead, there will also be some areas where you get to follow. It's just that those two particular energies, those two particular areas, are not mutually exclusive. For example, say you are the emotional leader in this connection, and this person is the physical leader in this connection. This person will not be ever the emotional leader in this connection. You will always have that role. And while you complement each other together, it's the same the other way around. You will not be the physical leader in this connection. Not that you don't have the capacity to do this, but this is something where there are set roles in this connection. And this is not based upon gender or culture or anything like this, so to speak. This is, however, something where both of your strengths do highlight each other's weaknesses, which is a really beautiful energy and a very copacetic energy. So your higher self thinks that this connection is very healthy for both of you in terms of picking up slack for one another. Not saying that you have slack or that this person has slack. Your higher self wants you to know that they respect you and they respect this person. However, just like you will have to be a stronghold when it comes to certain areas, they will have to be a stronghold in certain areas as well. Because there may be some areas that you will eventually be led with from them, but the areas that you will be leading, you are called to do this without picking up on their energy. For example, say this person has an unhealthy habit, like maybe they drink a little too much, maybe they swear a little too much, and that's super subjective. That doesn't have to be a bad thing either. Say they smoke cigarettes, or something that is just not healthy for you in your definition of what that is, okay? Because this is relative. However, this will be something where you might be the physical health leader in this connection, and maybe this person will exercise with you. This will be great, but it won't be your job to fix them, to tidy them up, to show them what to do, but they will join you, and your strengths will eventually strengthen their weaknesses a bit, inherently. But this will be something where you have to not pick up on that smoking habit, not pick up on that drinking habit. And there will be things that go the other way as well for this person. This person has some sort of structure that they are used to as well. Say this person is the more emotionally mature one. And notice that I switched the roles, or your higher self switched the roles as to who leads in in which area, because this is a general reading and you know yourself the best in this person. Okay, so to keep it balanced out, they did this. So if this person, for example, is the one that takes the emotional lead here, this will be something where maybe you say what's on your mind a lot. And maybe when you are upset, you complain. When you're happy, you laugh. Maybe your emotions are a little bit more overt, which is not a bad thing. But this person is a little bit more mature when it comes to their emotional responses instead of a reaction, for example. And I'm not saying that this is what you do. This is, though, what is coming forward, so I'm honoring it. So this person would have to learn not to react and to continue to respond. While you will heal in this area, they will have to be a stronghold here. And just like vice versa, maybe this is you. You will have to learn how to continue to respond when this person is reactive, so on and so forth. So take this however the energy resonates for you, since this is general. But your higher self wants you to know that this connection is one that can be very, very fun, very, very playful, very, very loving. There's a lot of adoration here. There's a lot of love here. And there are a lot of commonalities. And you might even be surprised to find some common interests here that you don't even know about yet. Or some that you do. You might think that you have an interest that this person sort of gets, but they wouldn't be very much into. And your higher self wants you to know that you might be surprised with how in sync you two are. I'm actually hearing 2 peas in a pod. So, while this is very much true, you two are, I'm hearing almost like a match made in heaven. You are 2 peas in the pod. They're also showing me specifically in that pod, there is a pea on the right and there's a pea on the left. And each one has everything has a place and everything is in its place. And this is the way this connection will move forward. So this is what your higher self thinks initially. Let's get into the tarot and let's pull some more information from your higher self about this connection. So group 1's higher self, what would you like to say about this connection? What would you like to say? Okay. The Wheel of Fortune. So immediately, this connection was placed in your life for a reason, to show you that to show you that it's okay for you to have fun. Sometimes you end up in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people. This is a little bit of a whirlwind energy. Your higher self wants you to know that this connection coming into your life, whenever it did, however it did, whenever it does, okay, this is connected to good karma that you have stowed in the bank, essentially. And there's something here about this either being a hit or miss, a false start, slow to get off the ground, or there's something here about this might be a connection where you two take a more alternative route to life. You want to create something together that is a bit alternative to the status quo, to the norm in some way. So this can be something that is, for example, polyamorous. This can be something where you two are together and you choose not to have children. This can be something that is not heteronormative. This can be something that in any way, shape, or form breaks the mold. You guys might be nomadic. You could travel. So this is definitely a cycle-breaking relationship. And in this connection, your higher self wants you to know that there's a lot of teamwork, a lot of team building here. This is something where you reach a common goal, you leverage each other's strengths in a positive way, and you're able to achieve these goals seamlessly, in a sense of union, in a sense of togetherness, and it's very, very harmonious. Your higher self actually loves this connection for you. And there's also an element here of knowing them before in another life. So if you resonate with this, this is definitely a, oh, I'll see you again kind of connection, regardless of the way this has manifest, is yet to manifest in this life or in others. This is definitely a, it's not goodbye, it's see you later, in any way, shape, or form. Your higher self feels as though there is a bit of almost nervousness or tension, or maybe it's like that fine line between maybe anxiety and excitement in this connection. This will be something where you will have to yourself slow down. We have this picking up pace very quickly, and then we have an element of slowness here. So this might be something where your higher self sees something that you don't, and this might be where, because you two do fit together like this, there will be elements of yourself that you want to grow and expand, but you might feel the need to keep them, like, not secret or locked in, but they might not have full room to grow and flourish. They can, but it might be in a situation that is external to this connection, which isn't a bad thing. And they want you to know it is also something that you can make work. This isn't to say that this connection is confining for you at all. In fact, it is quite the opposite. However, if something happens here, such as, say you guys become, maybe you merge finances, or one of you is financially or emotionally or spiritually or physically dependent on the other in a certain way, this doesn't need to get codependent. And I'm getting, for most of you, like, your higher self is saying this is not codependent. This isn't going to come out this way. But whatever area this is that this person is in charge of, if you would like to cultivate these areas of your life, your higher self recommends that you find a safe space external to this relationship to do so. For example, leaving the house every Tuesday night, or whatever this looks like for you, and starting a side hustle. Or perhaps taking your own time to pray, or to meditate, or to go to the gym, or something like this. Whatever this person's strengths are, it will be up to you to cultivate them on your own. And same for the other person. However, your higher self wants you to know that you are your own responsibility, and there's this acceptance of this person the way that they are today, as if this is the way they will always be. And the same thing goes for you. And that's a beautiful sense of security and stability that your higher self wants to draw to your awareness, and they want you to make sure that you feel comfortable in. They're also aware of the fact that if you wish to strengthen some of these weaknesses, which they do recommend if you so choose, that you continue to let yourself be intertwined with this connection in this way. For example, whatever their strength is, you're working on it, and you still allow them to take the lead in this area. You are working on this external to this connection. So, I'm getting that there are no secrets at all between you and this person, and your higher self also wants you to know that this is something that has the capacity to continue to grow and grow and grow and be very long-lasting. Your higher self does think that this is something that will be a little bit more tangible, rational. In some ways, this connection makes sense. And you might be looking at it from a 3D perspective, like, there are some difficulties here. Or this might not necessarily be easy or rational to come together, but your higher self is showing that there is this connection in the beginning where you can put the puzzle pieces together, and then everywhere that those two puzzle pieces go, they are then connected. So this is something that is rational and tactical. It makes logical sense because you both will move with each other in mind equally, which is beautiful. There is always room for growth here, especially if you want to amp up your strengths. I'm getting that this person will be very supportive of you and your endeavors, whatever that may be. Your higher self does want to let you know, though, that there might be some sort of difficulty here when it comes to creation or expression, not in a way where, again, there are no secrets, and you amp each other up. You are both each other's hype person. But there's something here about everything has a place and everything is in its place. You might feel a little bit like you have to say the right thing or you have to play a particular role, and I'm getting that this role will not be inauthentic to you, but if there's something that you wish to do that's outside of this role, it will again be external to this connection. You can bring it into this connection, but there will be something that is asserted in the beginning that will kind of be the ongoing structure, okay? We do have that this is in some way, shape, or form angelically guided, as well as a form of perhaps karmic justice for you, this connection coming in. This might be something that goes at your pace, which your higher self would always like to encourage. Your higher self wants you to know that this connection is work. It will be work, but it will be enjoyable work. Every time you two say you have an argument or you try to solve a problem together, it doesn't matter which way you are trying to solve a problem, but this will definitely be something where it is you two against the problem, and this will be something where every time you figure something out, that thing has now and forever been figured out, and then you move on to the next thing. And so, while this is beautiful, you will create a very solid foundation with this person if this is what you choose, and your higher self does want you to know that the future here, it will require more work, but with this work comes success. Everything you two put your mind to together will come into fruition, and that does not mean that there won't be perhaps bumps in the road. There is a sense of humanitarianism. Your higher self wants you to be aware of the fact that this is or can be in the greatest good of all for you two to come together, although this is not the only manifestation that you can take in this energy. They want you to know that you have other options, but this is a beautiful one. With this, you two might volunteer together. You two might help others together. You two might invent something, problem solve, help make the world a better place together. This is something like two humanitarians coming together and building a nonprofit organization, or it's you two volunteering every Saturday morning at a soup kitchen. But once you begin a routine, that becomes your routine forever, and that works for you both forever. So every Saturday for the rest of your life, it's penciled in at 8 in the morning, and you already know that. So this is what your higher self wants to draw to your attention. They also would like for you to know that this person will feel very, very deeply for you, and you will feel very, very deeply for them. Again, like two peas in a pod. There is this energy of finishing each other's sentences, of reading each other's minds, of being on the same emotional wavelength. And although you both have different strengths and weaknesses, as is to be expected with two individuals coming together at all, there is this energy of almost always being in the same place at your life at the same time. For example, you're both building your careers at the same time. You're both exploring your art, your individuality at the same time. You both explore the same things around the same time in life, so you are almost always on the same wavelength. Again, each with your own strengths and weaknesses, but this is a safe space, this connection. There is so much emotional depth here. There is a past life connection here. I'm also getting to tell you that if this resonates for you, there will be a future life connection here as well, if you resonate with that. And there's something here about being in your energy that makes this person more psychic, makes this person more spiritual by being around your energy, not because you are physically making them. Your higher self really, really wants you to know that this connection can be made to make sense. This connection can work out for you. This connection can be very, very comfortable. This person's family absolutely adores you. Friends, family, any type of family at all. And this connection is something that highlights an era of change in your life. When it comes around, when it is at the forefront of your life, whether this is initially or just at a point in your relationship when you are both really, really emphasizing the connection, this will always happen at a turning point in your life in a positive way. In a place where you are saying goodbye to one chapter and landing in another one, but each time it gets more and more and more stable. Your higher self wants you to know that this is a connection that it starts with the Page of Pentacles. It comes in perhaps very exciting with the Wheel of Fortune, and then it grounds. But you are planting a sapling, it's not a seed. There's already some sort of pre-established foundation here, which is beautiful. And each person in this connection continues to add their fair share to this connection. There's an equal play here. Everyone does their part of what they feel they are doing. Everyone feels like it's fair. And this is something that continues to get more and more stable over time. This will be something where, in whichever context, again, we did have perhaps this being a bit of a non-traditional in just a societal norm kind of way, I guess, and that's a loose term, but some aspect of this being non-traditional. But we do see this getting more and more grounded, more and more stable, more and more abundant, more and more comfortable as time goes on. This isn't something where you have a beautiful foundation and then you both grow apart or you both grow parallel. This is something where you both have a shared energy space. There's yours, there's theirs, and there's what's shared. And you both contribute the same amount each way every day. And it works. You find a system and it gets more safe and more stable and more comfortable. This is something where there's an element of a really grounded energy. So perhaps the two of you might connect to nature together. You might like to camp together. You might like to hike together. And if that's not the case, this can be something where you build a home together or you build a garden together. Either way, this connection, your higher self wants you to know, feels like home in a lot of different ways because this is a very stable and safe place for you to land. Whether this be for a little bit, whether it be for a lifetime, whether it be as a friend, whether it be romantic, whether it be any type of connection at all. Moving forward, there will always be more to invest, but the harvest that comes from the investment will always be greater than the investment. There will always, always, always be a return of investment with interest with this relationship. And this will be something that continues to get more and more precious to you over time. Your higher self wants you to know that this connection is very, very healing for you. And they also would like to bring up what was mentioned in the beginning about this connection being a quartz crystal. And Sometimes we want to use clear quartz, sometimes we want to use rose quartz, sometimes we want to use citrine or lapis lazuli or hematite. And the quartz crystal is like old faithful. She is old reliable. It will need to be cleansed, it will need to be charged, and it can actually beautifully enhance any other aspect of life, any other crystal that it is paired with. So, if you want to shave your head and move to a different country, this person will be along for the ride. If you want to suddenly learn a new language and only speak in that language for the next 8 months, this person will be right there with you. Your whims, your ideas, this person will happily invest in them alongside you. And this will be something where you each have a role to play in this connection, and it works for you, and this is the way that it will be. And even if you grow in those areas that each other is strong in, you can always expect that person to show up for you in that way, even when you get really good at that task that they are taking care of, and vice versa. So say this person's not so good at cooking and you are just the person that cooks, and that's okay because they're the person that cleans, hypothetically. And I'm not saying this has to be the case, of course, but this person might take cooking classes, but you will still be the one in charge of the cooking. You might be not good at cleaning and you might figure it out along the way, but this person will still be the one in charge of the cleaning. And whether this is mind, body, spirit, or just minute tasks, this will be something where once the roles are defined, it will move forward in this way, and it will continue to grow, continue to get abundant, and you will always know what to expect. Your higher self wants you to know that this connection is deep, it is consistent, it is future-oriented, goal-oriented, and it is safe. It is a safety blanket for you. It will be healing for both of you. And they want you to know that this will be a relationship that does take work. Now, all connections don't take work. This one will. It's not going to be backbreaking work. It's not going to be heartbreaking work, but there will be work involved. But it will be teamwork. And they want to say teamwork makes the dream work. So, group number 1, that is what your higher self thinks about this connection. I hope this helped shed love, light, and clarity for you. And if you want to hear what their higher self thinks about this connection, you can find the link to that reading below in the description box on Psychic Siren Tarot's channel. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful magical realm. I'll see you next time, and namaste. Hi there, group 2. Namaste, and welcome to your reading. Today, we're taking a look at what your higher self thinks about this connection, and you selected the second group with absorbing energy. With this card, tapping in with the energy, I am feeling first and foremost that you and this individual are highly, highly connected spiritually. There seems to be a bit of mirroring energy going on to the point where you will both feel this person's energy a lot, and I'm getting they feel yours a lot too. There's sometimes maybe a bit of a blurred line between what is theirs and what is yours, not just because you are so connected spiritually, but because you are actually mirroring a lot. So you may be having a lot of the same experiences, a lot of the same thoughts and emotions. You might be on the same wavelength to the point where if you absorb each other's energy, you might feel the same thing when you cleanse your energy, but it will be half as emphasized because it is not including their energy and yours. Now, this is not the case all of the time, and your higher self wants to let you know that this is somebody that you have or have had a lot to learn from, and them you as well. There might sometimes be a little bit of a, no, they learned from me. No, I learned from them. No, they learned from me. No, I learned from them. Energy going on in this connection. And this is because this is mutually beneficial here. Your higher self feels as though this is something that you want to call in and it doesn't manifest the way that you want, or this is something that you don't want to call in, and when you are pushing it out is when it shows up very strongly. Your higher self thinks, first and foremost, that this is an opportunity for you to fully express all parts of you, no judgment, putting all of it out there. Essentially the summertime version of yourself. Fun in the sun, laughing, free time, adventure, things like this. And there's also this sense of spiritual I'm hearing gravitas in this connection as well. This will be something that is a beautiful complement to the spiritual journey that you are already on, apart from this connection. And this will also be something that opens your mind to different possibilities than the ones that you initially would have had in your surroundings. You might learn about a lot of things that you didn't even know existed, and you might find that you are interested in a lot of things that you never would have considered before, based upon your world as you know it. Your higher self thinks that this connection is one that encourages you both to take action in the direction of your truest identification of self, your truest sense of self. This is something that tests your confidence so that it can grow your confidence. This is something that will poke at those insecurities until you grow in those areas that you might have not necessarily felt comfortable acknowledging or looking at. This is something that brings up shadow work, but in a beautiful way, not in a sad way where it kind of puts you down in the dumps and then leaves you there, but in a way where it's like, hey, psst, look at this. And then holds your hand and guides you towards the light together. This connection is mutually beneficial, and your higher self thinks that in the full light of this connection, in the summer, if you will, of this connection, then this is a beautiful, happy, thriving, abundant connection. They're also drawing the analogy to mind, though, that sometimes when you look straight at the sun, it can be very, very bright. It can be very uncomfortable. It can almost feel as though it's damaging. But if you are looking at the sun in the morning, at the right time, under the right conditions, and not for too long, then you can eventually look at the sun longer and longer and longer. It can be very, very healthy for you to sun gaze. But if you go out when the sun is the brightest and the atmosphere is a little thin, there are maybe some clouds out and you're right near water, the sun can be blinding. It can make you cry. It can be painful. And this, your higher self is sharing with me, is an analogy for the brightness of this connection. Your higher self thinks that this connection will show you your light even more deeply than you already knew that you had it. And they also think that this is very abundant in a playful, fun, and expressive way for you. This is a heart opener in the kind of way that cracks you open and you might feel a bit sore after. But every time that you do look at the sun, every time you do those heart opening, you get a little bit stronger. You get a little bit more resilient. You get a little bit more tapped in with your light, a little bit lighter, a little happier, a little freer. And your higher self thinks that this is something that they're showing me ice cream. So this can be something that to you is like a dessert. This connection is like the cherry on top of your life, intense as it may be. This is not something that is obsessive. This is not something that takes up most of your mind space, most of your life space. This is not something where your whole life is this connection. And while this may be something that is deeply ingrained, deeply intertwined, this is something that no matter how intertwined you and this person are, no matter how deep, how bonded this connection is, how spiritual this connection is, how far back this goes, whatever the dynamic is here, this connection is the cherry on top. It's the dessert after the meal. It is something very, very beautiful and enjoyable and almost sugary. And they're showing me that sugar burns faster than other things with more nutrients in it. And again, you can only look at the sun for short periods of time. So there is this energy here of building up resistance, in a sense, getting stronger and lighter at the same time, so that you can better metabolize the sugar that is this connection, so that you can exist in the summertime. You go to school so that you can take the summertime off. You work very, very hard so you can experience a summer season in your life. As an analogy here, of course. So, this connection feels as though it is something that is deserved, hard-earned, beautiful, fun, but due to the nature of this, your higher self wants you to know that this should be something that is a treat in your life, not a given, not a necessity. This is something that is simply a dessert. It is simply a treat. It is simply love. And there is not so much writing on this that in mind, body, or spirit, it shakes you off of the path you were going. This is something where you can walk a path outside of this connection and you will grow into the person that you're meant to be. You'll be on the path that you were always meant to be on. You'll be fulfilling your soul mission. You'll be on your highest timeline. You'll be ascending as much as you are meant to, as much as you want to. And with this connection in your life, with this person in your life, seeing them every day of your life or less, whatever dynamic this ends up manifesting in, it will be the same. You will manifest your highest timeline. You will grow as much as you can. You'll be the person you were always meant to be, and so on and so forth. Beautiful energy here. So group 2, let's get into the tarot and see what your higher self wants to tell you about this connection. Your higher self is letting me know that this connection comes in or strengthens or is a highlight in your life or has happier days, experiences the summer, as example, when you feel the most comfortable receiving happy, joyous, abundant, pleasurable energy. So that is coming in as well. So group number 2's higher self, what do you think about this connection? Ooh, okay. 10 of Swords and the 3 of Swords. Well deserved, hard earned. I'm hearing this song in the Tower. Look, we have the Tower here, which at the back here, the 4 of Pentacles. Ooh. I'm hearing the song, A Girl Worth Fighting For. I think it's from Mulan. This connection will be worth the risk, but the risk is there. The reason why this connection seems to be such high stakes, if you will, is because this is something that is meant to, again, be enjoyable. It is meant to be the cherry on top. It is not meant to be something where you restructure your entire life in order to make this relationship work, this connection work. This is something where your life works, their life works, and then you have this beautiful connection on top of it. This is easy, breezy, beautiful. The energy is light, the energy is fluffy, and now we have the opposite of this coming out. This might be something where expression is difficult. This might be something where you have different baselines of like maybe intellect, speak different languages. This might be something where there is a bit of difference in not necessarily opinion, but in the way that you express those common thoughts, which is very difficult or interesting. There might be one of you that represents yin, another one that represents yang. There might be something here with the Hermit and the Hierophant here. The Hierophant commits. The Hierophant is legal matters. This is the like divine masculine energy. And the Hermit, this is Virgo. Virgo and Leo, first and foremost. Okay. With these energies coming out, this indicates that this might be something where there's a lot of solo work that needs to be done. Building yourself into the version of you that you are inevitably meant to be. Because with or without this connection in your life, you are going where you're going, you're becoming who you're becoming, and this is the point. This connection is a gift. It is not a necessity. It's a want, not a need. And so, your higher self wants to let you know that in your heart of hearts, if you choose this connection will choose you back. Always. But in order to choose this connection, you must choose you. You must have your own foundation. You feel free inside this connection. You feel free outside of this connection. Now, there's an element of the past that's coming up here, and this might be inside the connection or outside of the connection, but certainly there is some sort of energy of healing here. This energy of getting over something difficult, of putting down burdens, walking away from them, and then sitting down to process what the heck just happened. And this happens a lot with spiritual connections of all types. This also happens just in general when life happens to us. So there's this energy of this process, this healing occurring. However, the 3 of Swords progresses to the 4 of Swords. Yet instead we have the Hermit. And so, this is letting me know that there is a key to the future that is known internally to you both. And your higher self wants to let you know that, yes, of course, the answers that you seek are within. This is always the case. But in this connection specifically, the 4 of Swords, indicating somebody who has hurt, somebody who feels tied and bound, somebody who feels like they need rest, like they're healing actively, but they have that sword to break themselves free. They know what to do. They have that go piece. They have that liberation. They know what to do. This being the Hermit indicates that this is something that is either kept to the self Or this has a lot to do with your spiritual progression, with your illumination, with your desire to find freedom in the light within you, knowing that you are good inside and outside, introverted, extroverted. All aspects of yourself have been realized. This is not something where one of you plays one particular role. This is something where both of you play all of the roles and they work together symbiotically. This is something where there is a lot of mirroring energy going on, so much so that it's hard sometimes to differentiate one from the other. Not because you are not both unique and individual, but because there is this removal of obstacles here that almost seems to be a tradition in some way, shape, or form. And it's interesting that that's the word that came out. This is angelically guided, and your higher self is very excited for you to see the future of this connection, actually. There's definitely a soul contract here that has not yet been fulfilled. And I'm getting to tell you that there are only good things up ahead. But your higher self thinks that not only will it be worth the trials and tribulations that you may have gone through independently or that you may have gone through in this connection, they also think that you focusing on yourself is the best way not only to flourish in this connection, but for you to self-realize your fullest potential. And this is what this connection is about, whether it's present or not. This connection, your higher self is saying, is an opportunity for you to get to know yourself by looking at someone else. We are all mirror reflections of one another, and as we know, there are bits and pieces that are the same, bits and pieces that are different, adjacent, so on and so forth. It's more like a funhouse mirror. But with this particular connection, you are able to look at this person and you're able to see clearly a little bit more hot, cold, yes, no, yin, yang in aspects of you that resonate with you and your particular life path, your particular life story, your particular individual personality. There is a lot of change that is coming up in the future of this connection, and your higher self doesn't want you to get ahead of yourself when it comes to what's coming, because there's a lot that is finishing being processed still. But your higher self does want you to know that there will be progression here, wherever this is, no matter how long you've been together, whether this is platonic, romantic, whether or not you are together in separation, regardless of the type of connection this is. Your higher self wants you to know that this was something that was meant to help you absolutely speed through your karma, pass with flying colors, and not only have you, but this changed who you are. This changed the way that you express yourself. This changes the way that you think about the world. This changes your perception. 3, solar plexus, creation, Gemini energy, intellect, speech, learning with swords. Again, expression, intellect, speech. And yes, this is the card of pain, but this is something that takes a look at all of the versions of you that could have, should have, would have been repressed. Should have, would have, could have been taboo, difficult. Maybe we don't know that past version of us anymore. Maybe we don't express those parts of ourselves because of XYZ. This is something that has you look at these right in the face, and it has you grow and say, you know what, that part of me is beautiful, actually. I should express it more. But you know, that part of me is maybe not as healthy as I thought that it was. Maybe we should do a little work here. This is meant to scrub clean your being through looking at yourself in a mirror reflection. I'm also hearing the song Reflection from Mulan, and I'm pretty sure, I haven't seen Mulan in many, many years, but 2 songs from that movie came out so far, so perhaps something like this is coming up. Okay, maybe watch that movie if it resonates. Doesn't have to. So, group number 2 is higher self. What do you think about this connection? I just heard growth. Immediately, growth. Growth and expansion. Okay. You have a decision. The decision is yours, whether or not this manifests. And it might not always feel like this. Now, 10 of Swords, this indicates this can be being stabbed in the back. It can be difficulties. It can be burdens. It can be having just a hard time, not being able to catch a break, man. But it can also be you walking into the light, walking away from all of those things. Just as it has a dualistic nature here, this is your decision. Again, because who you end up being is the same with or without this connection. because this connection allows for that. So, is this connection everything or is it nothing? So is this connection, of course it's important, there's a soul contract here, and it still has yet to finish being fulfilled. If you feel like there's unfinished business, you are correct. But your higher self wants you to know, group number 2, that they think this connection is not only healthy for you, but it's something that shows you who you get to be, who you can be, in ways where maybe you would have restricted yourself. Maybe you get to have a little more fun, or you get to follow that dream, or you get to heal that part of you, or you get to get over that experience. You get to experience certain things, you get to learn certain things you never would have guessed. With or without this connection, your higher self wants you to know that you reach your full potential. This connection is a catalyst, but this would occur with or without this connection. Having this connection in your life does not hurt or help you. Physically, being physically together. The words that you share together, they are healing. And your higher self wants you to know that if you feel like this person sees you more deeply than anyone else, you are correct. If you feel like you see this person more deeply than anyone else, or that they feel this way about you, you are also correct. There is a bit of an element here that your higher self wants you to know that spiritually, just as you are tapped in with them, they're tapped in with you. And it's going to be kind of important for you to recognize that your words carry weight, even when it comes to your mental narrative, especially with these spiritual connections. This connection specifically is an opportunity for you to genuinely hold a paradigm, a narrative, an energy within that is one that is conducive to the other person, not because you've manifested to align with that vibration, but because that's genuinely what your internal narrative is, from a subconscious place. This is a lot of subconscious rewiring for you, and it's one that has you look at the past that may or may not have been so fun, and has you growing from it in a way where you're genuinely grateful, you're genuinely yourself, you're genuinely healthy, you're genuinely happy, you're genuinely a beautiful, spiritual, amazing, grown person. You reach your full potential, even in your subconscious. And with these spiritual connections, your subconscious mind and your higher self grow to share the same narrative. And this permeates and comes forward into your conscious mind. And this is how you end up reaching your full potential. And this connection is a catalyst for this. Your higher self thinks that this connection is more passionate than you might even think. And so I'm hearing misfire. Okay, so there might be something here where this had a hard time getting off the ground, or there's false starts. This might be something where one of you comes from the top down, the other one comes from the bottom up, so to speak. And because of this, it might take a couple tries in order to both meet at the heart. Say, one comes from the root, the other comes from the crown. One comes from the sacral, the other comes from the third eye, so on and so forth. This will come together through the heart center if you so choose, because you will still reach your fullest potential with or without this connection. Your higher self wants you to know that this is not the only option for you. This is not hardwired for you and you alone. There is not a more or less perfect match here than anywhere else. But since this is special, this is contractually special, if you wish and choose to honor this energy while growing into your own sovereign self as one whole being with masculine and feminine energies fully realized within oneself, then the way that this manifests will be one that creates for you a safe and sacred space for the fullest embodiment of self on both ends here. However, this connection is not at all required, and it wasn't in the first place for the fullest embodiment of the sacred sovereign self. So your higher self wanted to let you know this, because this might be a piece of the puzzle that you've been having a hard time either finding yourself or hearing around you. You maybe have been hearing to focus on yourself a lot in order to bring this into fruition, and this is why. Now, this is one that has you faced with your own truth, but this is also one where you know a truth that is still being permeated. I'm getting that the higher self has downloaded into the subconscious, and the subconscious and higher self are now permeating into the conscious, into the physical reality in front of you. And we see this coming out on the future side of your spread. meaning your higher self wants to let you know that this internal truth, you'll see it manifest before your eyes. What you've been knowing this entire time, what you've been experiencing this entire time, you're going to walk through it. You're going to see, hear, taste, touch, smell, experience everything that you have been feeling, understanding, experiencing internally. And if this is something where you've been together for a very long time, you will continue to either grow new truths alongside each other that you get to share with each other, or you get to create a story that is beautiful, that is a bit of each of you, and kind of shows both of you things that you didn't even consider being something that would bring you joy and fulfillment. For example, say one of you loves to travel and the other one of you loves to cook. Then you can cook and travel. It doesn't need to be one or the other. And the one who loves to travel will learn they love to cook, and the one that loves to cook will learn they love to travel, etc. And it will create something new. This is something where you and this person, your higher self, wants to confirm for you that you have a lot of the same spirit guides. And this may be, since this is very highly a spiritual connection, something where their higher self is on your spirit team, or they connect with you quite often, as you know, or your higher self is on their spirit team, or they tap in with your higher self quite often, as you know. Your higher self wants you to know that if you choose the more grounded, tactical option, that you can expect to have a conversation here that goes cut, dry, blank, rational, tactical, pragmatic. If you choose the more spiritual option here, you will be, of course, experiencing a bit more shadow work, but also a bit more liberation. You will be connecting more spiritually to the point where it doesn't really matter if you have these conversations externally, because you're able to see eye to eye, have these conversations telepathically. I'm hearing, well, if we already have all of these conversations telepathically, so why would we need to put them into words? So there's almost this energy here of the higher selves merging with the 3D selves and having this mutual understanding that this is what's going on. Now, there's just this common understanding here of who each one is fundamentally and where you are on your journey. I'm hearing divine gateway chakra as well. This will have an expansion to it that will be expressed in a more full way than you are positively hoping for at this point in time, which is beautiful, regardless of what the dynamic is here for you. And your higher self wants you to know that the full expansion, the full embodiment, the full blessing, the full luck that comes along with this connection has yet to occur. And so while you might look at the past with the Two of Pentacles here, both fondness and both a little bit of a, ouch. It might be 50-50. It might be growing into more gratitude, growing into more love, growing into more light, and then also coming out of duality a bit, which is part of the intention here, I'm hearing. Either way, in the future, that fondness, that beautiful, that specialness, that energy still has yet to be really sparked. And you may have been together for a very, very long time. This may be something where you're not together right now, regardless of the dynamic of this connection, platonic, romantic, anything. The fullest capacity here, the fullest potential here has yet to be reached. And while this is your decision, even if you say yes, even if you say no, if you say grounded, if you say spiritual, regardless of the direction that you choose for your own life, sovereign to this connection being a part of it, there will be an expansion and an expression of this connection in the future in a very positive way, in a way that cuts through all of the difficulty that once was there, whether this is in the connection or before the connection or adjacent to the connection. Your higher self wants you to know that you have a very, very high likelihood of choosing this connection, or of grounding in this connection, or of perhaps having a contract, of fulfilling the rest of your soul contract with this person in this lifetime. Or if you're already together with this person, there's a high likelihood of you two growing alongside each other and fulfilling both of your wildest dreams, and wildest dreams that would be in the middle, like a Venn diagram. There's your dreams, there are their dreams, there are the dreams in the middle, and all three of these get realized in a very beautiful, blissful way. There is a high chance that this will occur, regardless of where you are in this connection today. Your higher self does want you to know that this is something that will crack you open and travel you through, I'm hearing, different realms, different belief systems, different realities, different versions of yourself, different types of expression. Some of you, this is something where you discovered your love for music, you discovered your love for painting, you discovered your love for speaking, you discovered your love for poetry. There's something here about your expression. And your higher self thinks that what was unseen previously will be all cards on the table very soon. And if they can leave you with anything, your higher self wants you to know that they are in favor of this connection, no matter what. Because while there are just as fulfilling and just different options out there for you, while you will grow into the person that you are meant to be on the path that you're meant to walk, which is not the case for all relationships, you will continue to grow exponentially and ascend as far as you could possibly fathom with this connection in your life or without this connection in your life. Your higher self wants you to know that with all of these things taken into account, they are in support of this connection progressing forever. And this is the truth. You may go back and forth about whether this is your truth for the reasons previously mentioned. And this is also why your higher self wants you to know that they are in favor of it, for the very same reason that you might not be 100% convinced, even if you've been together for 50 years. Because at the end of the day, this is Saturnian, but there's also an element of Jupiter. There's also an element of the sun. This is very bright. You learn a lot. And it requires discipline. It requires you to have a foundation, but the blessings, they are fun, they are short-lived, they are quick sparks, but they are also long burns. They're also permanent. They're also progressive over time. This is not just something that shows up in a flash, but it is something that also has a slow burn. But it's not something that is only a slow burn. This is also something that has those fun, exciting, passionate flashes. So, the more that you discover your own truth, which is already seen by the other part in this connection, the easier and more fulfilling this connection will become every day, over time, only getting better and better as the time goes on. So your higher self thinks that this connection is healthy for you, it's conducive for you, it was never not going to happen. And moving forward, you have a lot more freedom and choices than you might think that you do, particularly in this connection. Not just about whether or not you are a part of it, but also the way that your life looks while you're a part of it. There's a lot more freedom here, a lot more choice, a lot more leeway, a lot more fun than you might currently be expecting or thinking. For some of you, a lot more maturity, a lot more sincerity, and a lot more fun, a lot more play, a lot more freedom than you might be expecting. So group number 2, that is what your higher self thinks about this connection. I hope this helps shed love, light, and clarity for you. And if you want to hear what their higher self thinks about this connection, you can find the link to that reading below in the description box on Psychic Siren Tarot's channel. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful magical realm. And I hope to see you next time. Namaste. Hi there, group 3. Namaste and welcome to your reading. Today we're taking a look at what your higher self thinks about this connection, and you selected the third group with a door is opening. Now, tapping in with the energy first. This is something that allows you to use your imagination. This connection is one where your higher self thinks that this will be one that shows you really beautiful aspects of yourself, your mind, your soul, your subconscious, and your imagination. However, your higher self wants you to be aware of the fact that this might also cause you to project some of that imagination onto this connection. There is a fine line between knowing that you can manifest anything that you like, that anything that you create as a mental narrative in your mind becomes true, and trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, essentially. Your higher self sees why you are so fond of this person and this connection. And with the door is opening card, there may have been preconceived notions when selecting this pile about, oh, this is the really positive one, and I am consciously putting positive energy into this connection. Therefore, this is my pile, period. And don't click off. Your higher self wants you to know that the things that you experience that are beautiful in this connection are projections of you. They are reflections of you. The cool things that you do, you are the cool energy here. This door is opening because this is something that gives you opportunity to experience and express parts of yourself that you may not have had a free and safe space to express, to become, to embody. And this is beautiful as a concept. This is a fated connection. This is a karmic connection. This is a soulmate, a friend of your soul's. And in the 5D, this is why there are no hard feelings. This is a soul contract that is meant to show you both where you can grow into. But both of this is reliant upon your internal world. Now, there is something here about you are right, you get to write the story here. However, you get to write the situations that you end up in and bring this connection along with. You get to write the situations about when to pick and choose your fights. You get to pick the situation about what type of Mars energy you have going on here. Mars is kind of that fine line between frustration and passion, a bit of creativity, a bit fiery energy. This is something where all of the potential will be very, very apparent to you. And the feelings do run deep here, but there is this energy where you are significantly further progressed than this individual that you are connecting with. And while you can make it work, this does not work for you. And you might disagree with that in your 3D body at this point in time. Or if you're listening to someone in the past, you are gaining more clarity through this reading. This connection is something you would have needed to make work. And here you learned essentially, or you are learning essentially, to ask yourself the question, can I make this work, or is this actually working for me? Group number 3, your higher self wants you to know that you are able and allowed to make any choice that you want. Of course, you have free will. It is your birthright. And you can also manifest whatever you'd like. However, this connection is definitely one that is karmic. A lot of you may have had false twin flame energies come through here, but this is as a result of you seeing yourself deeply through what you're not seeing in this other person. If you look at a blank canvas, and I'm not calling this person a blank canvas, but your higher self is showing me this analogy. If you look at a blank canvas and you pull out all the different colors of paints, well, you end up painting this canvas something beautiful. And yes, the canvas is beautiful, but what was painted onto the canvas was none other than yourself. Your higher self wants you to be aware of where you're directing your energy when you are in this connection. Because you might be painting this canvas and the canvas might walk away. The canvas might say, no, it's me that's beautiful. It wasn't your creation. When in reality, you could have been painting yourself. You could have been making a business with those paints. You could have been creating art on canvases that were not self-serving. This is something where there is a very strong Neptunian energy here, which is beautiful, which brings a lot of ethereal energy, a lot of daydreamy energy, a lot of very beautiful, fun energy, but it also does bring a little bit of Delulu energy here. Now, in the realm of manifestation, we know Delulu is the Solulu, but when it comes to spiritual progression, Delulu is most certainly not the Solulu, and this is where we have this fine line between frustration and passion. No, but if I can just. No, but if they would just. This is what your higher self is drawing your attention to today. Your higher self thinks that this connection was always going to happen. Your higher self thinks that this connection is one that, whether this happened through this person or through a different person, the experience that you're having would have been fated. It is predetermined. And the reason why it was this person is for all of the beautiful traits of them that you genuinely see. And because they are also, in that way, a clear reflection of yourself, not because they have those traits, but because they might someday grow into those traits. This is a connection where you see your beauty looking at them. Maybe you are afraid to go out to restaurants and go camping by yourself. But with this person, you guys go to all your favorite restaurants and you go camping together, and so you project that beauty onto this person. For this person, your higher self wants you to know that this is something where they have never really gone camping before, maybe. Maybe they aren't really one for restaurants, but deep down, there's a part of them that would love to explore it, they just haven't yet. So they see this beauty in you. Either way, you are the gold mine in the connection, and this person you'll camp with them, and then camping is in both of your energy, so then camping is their energy. You will have painting in your energy, and this person will learn that they love to paint, so then they'll take the painting too. And then they will continue to identify and almost mold into a version of you, trying to find themselves. And while these things are authentic to both individuals in certain circumstances, in certain ways, this is something where the entire magic, the entire future, the entire growth, the entire capability of this connection, it's on you. Energetically, it is all on you. And your higher self is aware that this person says all of the right things, and that your intuition is letting you know otherwise. You've got some weird feelings, and this person is absolutely adamant. They are acting correctly. They are a wonderful actor. And this is not to say this person is a bad person. However, group number 3, your higher self wants you to know that you deserve better, and they would like you to be aware that in this connection, you not only deserve better, but if you don't believe it yourself, you will be shown. And this is not to instill discomfort or fear in you. This is your higher self coming forward to let you know that okay is not perfect. Good is not perfect. And the foundation here is a house of cards. Although it might be a beautiful house of cards, and maybe you both are experts at this. Maybe it's the best house of cards that has ever been built. It is the sturdiest, it is the most beautiful, it is the most intricate. Nevertheless, it is what it is. And so, when that windstorm comes, when all of the beautiful work that you've already done on yourself, when all of the beautiful healing, when all of the evolution that you have done, when this person begins to tap in with these traits about you, and they start to identify that they have this to happen in themselves, you are looking at a ticking time bomb. Your higher self is aware of how you feel, and that this isn't the most comfortable reading for you, but that it does resonate as true for you. And so, your higher self wants you not to worry about anything and to know that it's all going to be okay. And they also want you to know that this was always going to happen in one way or another, because this will level you up in ways that you cannot ever imagine now. You have a beautiful, beautiful heart that deserves to be seen. You have a beautiful, beautiful soul, an internal world that deserves to be seen. This is not one where you attempt to reel the person in so that they can someday see you at your full depths. This is an energy where you are a gift to them because you see them at their depths, and the gift to you is that you experience yourself meeting someone at their depths. Now, the Doors opening card. This is one that does indicate that there are new beginnings ahead. This will bring you some of the greatest glow-ups you've had in your life. This will bring you some of the greatest communication skills, some of the greatest self-expression skills, some of the strongest unconditional love, some of the largest realizations that you will have had up until this point. There is an ancient energy that connects you and this other person, that your higher self is aware that you are either aware of or on the brink of discovering. And with this, they would like you not to mistake a past life connection for a healthy connection here. This could have been the perfect lover of your dreams in another life. This could be your best friend for your entire life in another life. This can be your worst enemy in another life. It does not matter. This is a soul, point blank period, cut and dry. This is a soul that is one part of the universe. You are one part of the universe. You come together. When you collide, sometimes it is red, sometimes it's orange, sometimes it's yellow, sometimes it's green, sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's indigo, sometimes it's violet, sometimes it's light, sometimes it's dark. And this process is intentional and beautiful, but this is not a means to an end. This is, though, a portal for you to walk through. There is another side to this energy, and this is where you step into a version of you that you've always wanted to be. And maybe was thinking that you'd end up putting on the back burner or saving for another life or just a pipe dream. We have this confusion here, almost this swapping out of energies. The optimism towards this connection progressing in the ways that you are imagining, and the optimism in yourself evolving in the way that you're imagining. It almost seems as though the hope from your evolution has been placed instead into this connection. But in reality, this is a twist in your energy field. So allow yourself to at least come back to center, work on your heart space, because there's a lot of pain in there that is not yours at all whatsoever, but inevitably is bringing your old pains to the forefront. And before we get into the tarot, last message, your higher self wants you to know that you are not responsible for translating yourself, for shrinking yourself, for diluting yourself to fit into someone's framework and mental narrative. This will confine you into a box. If someone is only yellow and you can only speak to them in yellow, then the whole rest of your colors are not being seen. And they also want you to know that you deserve to express the truth, not just there's yellow and, oh, did you know that there's orange? Did you know that there's green? And then start to open up to that because you have this powerhouse within. You get to be seen for all of your colors brightly, and from this point, each color will evolve. You'll begin to see and experience colors that you never have before. And this will open you up into such a large expansion, into a world that seems like an entirely different universe, not just a different timeline or reality. So group 3, your higher self thinks that this connection is sure a catalyst for your growth, but they don't want you to put too much weight on its importance. And it might seem like it's your entire world right now. It has to be, or else. Right, and they want to draw your attention to that. Okay, so getting into your tarot, higher self of group number 3, what do you think about this connection? What do you want them to know? I almost fumbled the cards a few times, so there's an energy like that wants to come through, like almost fumbling. Almost fumbled that, but didn't. Okay, Page of Pentacles. Money matters are coming up here, okay? For some of you, your higher self wants you to make sure that you have your own money, not to be financially dependent on this person or physically dependent on this person. This person has some things going on, okay? Or some intentions that are weird, okay? I'm getting, this person is a wonderful actor, okay? You might see one thing and the truth might be totally different from that, okay? They want you to be aware of this. This is a practice in learning your intuition. Okay, so your higher self wants you to know, okay, about this connection, But there's a reason why you've had some of those really difficult struggles in the past, and then you both make the decision to practice accountability and then move forward from that truth, from that blank slate. Okay, because this is something where you are teaching this person how to have accountability. In doing so, you are learning to be accountable for yourself and also take accountability for somebody else when it's not your fault. And teaching them how to take accountability for themselves as well. Now, this ultimately is teaching you not to take accountability for other people's mistakes. If something goes wrong, if you mess up and they mess up, you take accountability for you and them messing up and then the whole situation, and then it was all your fault to begin with, and then you are the one strong-arming the connection. But actually, my love, you may be getting manipulated a little bit. And again, I'm getting this person as a great actor. This can be something where they're so very nice to their friends so that they keep their reputation, but underneath it all, you get the brunt. This is something where this person might tell you or make you feel like you are all that they have, but they seem to treat everybody else differently than the way that they treat you. Your higher self thinks that the decision has been made about this connection before you even stepped into it. And that is part of the reason why it might have been so easy for you to step into it, and also for the other person. And once this got a little bit, I'm hearing hot and heavy, a little bit serious, a little bit deep, this is where the truth comes out. Your higher self thinks that you deserve honesty, internally and externally. Not in a way where it's used as bait, not in a way where you have to ask for it, but in a way where you express your truth in the way that resonates with your internal self. Not just in the way that expresses your truth in a way that is consumable for somebody else. In a way that dilutes yourself so that others can hear it. This is something like backtracking a little bit, saying, say you have a PhD in a topic and you make one statement that is true, but this person doesn't know about that and they're known to play devil's advocate. So you'll say, there's a theory that one might believe this, and I kind of thought that, just because I studied it for a few years, but like really, but who's to say, because it's subjective, and you're like, no, it's a fact though, and actually I can give you 50 pages of references and also prove it to you time and time again because there's no other option, but you're still shrinking it, you're diluting it, kind of beating around the bush a little bit, still saying that truth in order to cause you to second guess. Where are these headaches coming from? Where is this perhaps pain in your stomach coming from? Where are these tight shoulders coming from? The tight neck? All of these have been picked up intuitively from this other person. These are all issues this other person has that have been shared with you. Just like your beauty, your greatness has been shared with them. Your inspiration, your creativity has been shared with them. Their difficulty, their pain, their burden, their accountability even has been shared with you. Now, your higher self does think that this is an opportunity for you to not learn, but to say, I learned that already. To solidify something, to close out a chapter, step into a new one. There's an energy here of learning that relationships don't need to be sustained forever. People can come and go. You can be friends with someone for a year and they can be your best friend ever for that year, and then later than that you don't resonate anymore. Maybe one of you moves across the world. It's normal, it's natural. And so this energy of detachment, of not holding on, this seems to be an energy of you stepping into independence and this other person learning that it's okay to be dependent or vulnerable or open with others. So there's kind of this common thread here going on. Your higher self thinks that you are very, very optimistic when it comes to fighting this uphill battle. You can get to the top of the mountain. When you're at the top of the mountain, the view is beautiful. And then you can climb down, you can have a hike, you can go for lunch, whatever. This is a treadmill on an incline, not a hike on a mountain. There is an off button and there is an on button, but the entire time you are on an incline. Your higher self thinks that your truth deserves to be heard. And it deserves to be respected when it's heard. Your higher self wants you to know that there is space for you. Everywhere, all of the time. You can take up as much space as you want. It is your birthright. And there seems to be this energy of lack that is within this other person, and this energy of abundance that's within you that have been almost swapped or like sucked out of one another. Like there's showing me this energy of maybe you are very work oriented, maybe you are very fiscally responsible, maybe you are very abundant, very optimistic, maybe this person is very lack mindset. Now this person would have learned abundance from you and then projected all of their lack mindset onto you. So this is something where every day you get a little heavier and this person gets a little more, I'm hearing the word audacity. They have a little bit more audacity. And this is a dangerous, dangerous game. Your higher self wants you to know that while the decision is yours, what you do today and perhaps what you do tomorrow or next week, they want you to remember that the decision was made before you even stepped into this, before you even knew this person existed. And so, live as though today, as though it doesn't matter. Practice taking up space. And a lot of you need to cleanse your energy or cleanse your space. Perhaps when you leave this person's house or when this person leaves your house or after you're done hanging out, you feel the need to bathe, to cleanse your energy, to cleanse your home, to do an energy reset. There's a reason for this. Your higher self wants to let you know that everyone's not like this. And you don't have to deal with this. You won't feel the need to do this after you hang out with everyone. People that are healthy for you won't make you feel insecure. They won't make you feel lack. They won't make you second guess your importance to them. They won't make you question your own truth when it's literally a fact and it's not up for question, not up for debate. Now, I would like to pull some more positive energies, please. What does your higher self think about this connection? Page of Cups with the Four of Swords. Okay. This is training you for, I'm hearing the big guns, okay? This is training you for something that maybe for some of you, you experienced already in the past, but you had some things to heal and grow from that you perhaps projected the optimism from a different situation into this connection and learned how to actually heal and work through those energies in this connection. And this is something that is going to be cleaning, clearing, purging, clarifying, recentering all of your energy, your heart. And this is that connection that makes you never lower your standards again. This is that connection that teaches you what you don't want and what you do want. This is a connection where you have to be so confident in your truth because it gets second guessed all the time. And so coming out of this, when this weight is lifted, of course you know your truth. You are able to declare facts because you know them to be true and you always have, and that doesn't go anywhere. If you bench press 100 pounds time and time and time and time again, and then all of a sudden you put down that weight and you pick up a 5-pound dumbbell, it's going to feel a lot easier. You're going to say, oh, I know what I'm doing. This is easy peasy. My form is on point. This is awesome. And this connection is the 100-pound bar that is preparing you for those 5-pound dumbbells. And the 5-pound dumbbells they're healthier for you. They help you to tone and to fine-tune yourself because you are in your independence and you don't require this from external to you. Your fulfillment your validation, for some of you, finances is coming up, your love, your knowledge, it comes from within you. And so this connection is a door that is leading you into bigger and better. But it's a bigger and better you, not a bigger and better something outside of you that can then fulfill you, still being an empty shell, still carrying this hurt. This is something that causes you to look in the mirror and say, no, you know what? You are beautiful. Screw that person. This is something that causes you to look in the mirror and say, you know, that actually is a bad habit. Just because this person normalizes it doesn't make it okay for me to be doing this. I'm not up to my own standards. This person isn't up to my own standards. What is going on here? And you eventually step through this door and get pressurized very quickly into the beautiful version of you that you have been just dying to be, spreading your wings, and it's beautiful. We do see a little bit of defensive energy, a little bit of guarded energy, a little bit of fear. I'm hearing for some of you this might be connected to abandonment, okay? And I say that gently as well. But the Nine of Wands with the Three of Wands wants you to know that if the universe gives you a lollipop and you're all excited, and then they say, hey, give me the lollipop, but trust me. You or your inner child or a little kid might be hesitant about giving back that lollipop, but I just got this lollipop. Why would I give it back? That makes me sad. I had it and then I didn't have it and I wanted to eat the lollipop and I was all excited, so on and so forth. Well, the reason that the universe is asking for your lollipop is because it has a whole basket of lollipops, 10 of every flavor. But you don't get the basket, you don't get to know about the basket until you have faith and you trade in that one lollipop. And this is what you are being taught here. Because your higher self wants you to know you get to, yes, learn how to have deeper, stronger faith, which sometimes we have to learn the hard way. Not to white knuckle things that will simply make you tired instead of helping you out. And that sometimes you are asked to trade in your lollipop, but what you get in return is so much better than what you can imagine. And the version of you that's strong enough to trade in that lollipop, or the version of you that the lollipop got taken out of your hands and you had to deal with it, that version of you that you grow into after that is the version of you that you would be proud to be, excited to meet if you were somebody that wasn't you. And you get to experience somebody whose energy is exalting to yours and yours to theirs instead of one way or the other. Your higher self sees this person that you're connected with right now as a bit of an energy vampire, and it feels so good to be loved, it feels so good to be needed, it feels so good to be wanted, and you can have those things in a healthier dynamic that doesn't take, where they put in a lollipop and you put in a lollipop, and they put in a lollipop and you put in a lollipop, and then at the end of the day you have this big beautiful basket of equal contribution. You get to try new flavors, you get to still have your favorite flavors, and there's no competition, there's no jealousy, there's no mine or yours. There is sovereignty and a healthy, happy shared space. There's an energy that your higher self wants to make you aware of, that the facade that this person wears around maybe their friends, their family, their coworkers, things like this, they are pretending to be you because they look up to you. Like the way that they should have, would have, could have looked up at their parent if their parent was healthy for them. Or should have, would have, could have looked up at their authority figures, their teachers, their elder siblings, something like this. This person will continue to play victim. This person will continue to do whatever they're going to do, and it is your job to not give a crap. Let them deal with themselves. You are medicine. You are medicine for you. They are medicine for them. But you are the lollipop kind of medicine, and they are the penicillin kind of medicine. Your higher self wants you to know that in this connection, you will learn how to have your back up against a wall and find your superpower. You will learn how to feel like there's nowhere to move, no door out, no way out, and you will still be able to make one. And this is an important lesson for you to remember. I'm hearing your warrior archetype. However, in a connection that is supposed to be love and healing and beneficial and mutual, you shouldn't have to be a warrior. And so again, they go back to the beginning and they beg the question, well, with in mind that the decision was made spiritually and physically before even stepping into this connection, would you like to be in a connection that you can make work? Or would you like to be in a connection that works for you? Okay, group number 3, that is what your higher self thinks about this connection. If you want to know what their higher self thinks about this connection, you can find that reading below in the description box on Psychic Siren Tarot's channel. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this helps shed love, light, and clarity for you. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful magical realm. I hope to see you next time, and namaste.